Welcome to the Masters in Motion podcast, where we empower Masters athletes to reach their full potential. Join us as we delve into the world of CrossFit and showcase the strength, resilience, and determination of Masters athletes, because we love this sport. I'm Jason Grubb, and I have Rick Stevenson here with me. Actually, he's not here with me right now. I'm recording this intro just after Rick and I got a chance to interview Joe Linton, one of the co-founders of the Legends Masters Championship. We're really excited to interview Joe today, as the qualifiers for the 2023 Legends Championship were just released. In this interview, we get to know the history of the Legends Championship and how it's grown over the years, and we're expecting this year to be the biggest event they're putting on. The championship is going to be great in December, and the qualifiers are unique. Take a listen to the interview.
Well, joining us tonight, we have from the Legends Championship, one of the two event directors, Joe Linton. Nice enough to share a little time with us on the day that actually the qualifier events are released. So we wanted to snag a few minutes, fire a couple of good questions at his way, and also have him tell us as much about upcoming months as we can before leading up to the championship finals in December. So thank you, Joe, for joining us.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. This is awesome. This is fun. I always like to do these things and be able to just talk face to face, answer questions, talk about Masters. It's fun.
Well, you've got to take us back to the beginning, I think, back to offshore athletics, right? How many years is this in its entirety?
So this should be year 7. So year 1 was 2017.
Okay.
Year 2, we went from 2017, 36 people. Bob was basically begging people to sign up. I was busy. Yeah. I was busy running the gym. I was like, I'll be here to support.
Okay.
Support, yeah. But it was, him on Instagram just hounding people. Year 2, still at offshore, went to 54 people, but we added scaled. So we kind of didn't get that many more total. Still, we still wanted to hold strong and keep going. At that point, those 2 years, it was a one-day comp, and I think people paid at most like $40 for the day. Year 3, we sat down like right after year 2 and decided that we're going to do an online qualifier. And, if we want to be taken serious, that's the way to go. And It worked. So we got like 386 people signing up worldwide for our online qualifier.
That's a growth.
Yeah.
50 something, 386. Yeah.
We were surprised, and it gave us a lot of, motivation. So we changed the championship to a 3-day comp that you had to qualify for. And we were going to invite 120 people total out of all the age groups.
Okay.
Sold out the comp. I think 118 people showed up. So only 2 people couldn't make it last minute. And it was fantastic. For that year, we had Born Primitive as our gear sponsor, and we spent the money and did the time to do the gear just like, our goal was to be like the games. So last name, gym name, number, 1 full outfit per day. And it went really well. People were very excited. Year 4, 2020, we had the Del Mar Fairgrounds booked. So we're like, all right, we're getting it out of my gym. It's too small. We're going to go to the Del Mar Fairgrounds, and that's where the West Coast Regional was back in the day. And so a lot of nostalgia was around that, and it was very exciting. But, as you guys know, 2020, especially in California, canceled everything. So we pivoted. We're like, well, let's put it in December. That gives us plenty of time to figure this out. It gives us plenty of time to hope and pray that COVID goes away, which, as we know, it didn't. So we went
Not at that point.
Yeah. So we went to Arizona, which, I guess you could have called it COVID friendly at that point still. And we had to do it in a parking lot of, I believe it was the Cleveland Indians training facility, their spring training facilities. And that was an interesting year, very difficult, lots of obstacles, lots of changing protocols daily from the city of Goodyear. But I think it was our best year because it kind of showed everyone that, one, we're very committed to dealing with whatever conditions were thrown at us, that we pivot well, and that, we're really dedicated to the Masters. So even the rain, rain day 1. We stuck around all day.
All day.
And it never rains in Phoenix. That's what we were told. So we sat at the rental house and just waited and waited and waited. Couldn't get started.
Bob and I sat in his truck just waiting for this rain to go away. We're like, well, we're going to sit here and I mean, how long can it rain in Arizona? And then I pull up the Doppler, on my phone, and the storm looks like a finger, and it's
Yeah.
literally going over Goodyear lengthwise too. We're like, well, that's even better. Like we're just gonna get all of this storm, not just a little bit if it went sideways. But we were like, all right, it says it's gonna stop raining in like 30 minutes. So we sent out emails, we communicated as best we could. We were able to pull off the second workout, which was great. We missed out on max snatch and max clean and jerk, which we definitely have plans to bring that back. So finished up that year, went really well. Next year, brought it back to San Diego. Fantastic year. Was right in the Bay, right downtown, super close to the airport. We got a bunch of rooms in the hotel. People were able to walk up to their room, walk down. The Christmas boat show was going on right in the Bay at night. It was a really cool vacation competition for a lot of people, which is what our original intentions were with this comp. We wanted to make sure that it was always innovative.
Gotcha.
That was a lot of but then the next year Mayhem wanted to talk to us and we couldn't pass that up. CrossFit Mayhem being, considered the mecca of CrossFit. We're like, you know what? We always aim for athlete experience, maximizing that. And this is an experience that, they're never going to get. A lot of people may have gone there, visited, worked out there, but like to compete there, it was pretty amazing.
Yep.
And then moving on, the goal with Mayhem was like, we want to, throw a competition that is too big for this gym. And that's a huge gym. And we did that. We have a lot of competitors and we need more space. And we want to get back to that festival type feel, lots of vendors, lots of warm up space, big floors, bleacher seating, all that stuff. So now we're at ASU, Arizona State University this year, taking over their fitness facility, which has a ton of space, and it's a beautiful, beautiful college. So super excited about it.
Yeah, we're going to ask that. You were able to negotiate that with the school, even with technically the school year still going on. Like they agreed, like, okay, hey, you can have the space.
They actually get out like 5 days before. It's like
perfect.
We got under the line by a few days, and
there you go.
So they're not lenient during the school year. So we got lucky there. Like a competition that I'm friends with, the Desert City Classic. They're doing it on Veterans Day weekend, but they have to go Friday, Saturday. That they can't do a Sunday, and so they're pretty strict on that. But I can tell you that they are an amazing team to work with. I was blown away from day one of me doing a site visit. I had seven people there, like one from every department, and I was not used to this, So like head of the facilities, head of relationships, head of this, head of that, 2 students that are interning, and the person that runs the CrossFit gym there was there. It was pretty cool. And you can tell they're very dedicated to the comp and being a part of its success this year. So we feel very, very honored in that respect there. It's pretty cool.
So do you think that given your various venues over the years, this one is going to be the best foot forward that Legends Championship has offered the athletes in terms of a competition experience, all venues considered?
Yeah, it's going to be, well, one, we get our bigger field back. We had to cut down to 320 athletes last year because of maximum occupancy at Mayhem. We're bringing on teams. We're bringing on standard. Bringing on scaled. We're bringing back our vendor village, which means, a lot of our big sponsors are going to be there. We haven't announced this yet, but, these deals are already in place and we're going to announce them soon. But First Form is going to be our title sponsor. They're coming out huge. Tier is going to be there, have a big presence as well. Giant Lifting is our equipment sponsor. They're a company that is mainly in the Northwest, but in the recent couple of years have opened up a branch in Phoenix. They're going to be there providing all brand new equipment for the competition, making a custom rig. It's going to be beautiful.
Wow. Excellent.
So like a lot of stuff like that, a lot of local vendors, food trucks, all the stuff that, you want your family and you want to experience as well. And all that's going to be there, bringing more spectators and just, again, getting back to that festival vibe of what we want, what we're trying to build.
And again, focusing, which is so important, and why Jason and I want to keep talking to folks like you, focusing on the masters community,
absolutely.
which we know is front and center on a lot of folks' minds right now. With that, I don't want to call it lack of coverage, or kind of lack of coverage at the games, fresh off of that. And so this qualifier comes out, and I think the buzz is certainly there. Just messages. I'm sure Jason's the same way. We're getting people are getting excited about this. And I think that's something that you and Bob are fortunate
Yeah.
to be driving right now. And again, it starts today. Qualifiers out there. It goes through September
September 10th.
September 10th. Okay.
Yeah.
Line leaderboard, the same
Mm-hmm.
usual. Okay.
Yeah. Very, very stressful way to run a comp for all you guys, but
Mm-hmm.
it's I like it. We stole it from someone. I can't remember. We took it from some other comp. It was a small comp. I want to say out of Texas or something, but we saw that. We're like, ooh, I like that.
Best ideas are borrowed, right?
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
I like that a lot. So we should start doing that. And everyone says it's stressful just because they want to know where they're sitting and this and and all that. But you know how it is in the open. People retest
Sure.
and they don't post that score till Monday afternoon. So
correct.
Yeah.
You're putting your best foot forward. And if you are talking to some people and you have an idea of time domains and zones of where you're supposed to be, maybe you try it again. But hey, I like your countdown on the. My time is slipping away already. I can see 25 days and my minutes are gone. My hours have evaporated and I'm not anywhere close to starting the first one. So Now, what can Jason? Were you gonna?
I was gonna say, so the qualifiers. After reviewing them briefly, Rick and I have done this a few times. I think we did qualifiers in 2020. Rick and I actually met in 2020 in Phoenix. That was the first time we met and developed this friendship since then. So we've had great experiences at the comps that we've been at. For 2020, 21, 22 have been stellar comps. And whatever's going on behind the scenes, whatever stress you have had behind the scenes, we haven't felt. We're there to compete. And so I think it was in San Diego where I think we had 2 different rowing events because there was a little snafu with an equipment supplier. We don't care because we just went out to compete and you made it a super smooth, wonderful event. But these qualifiers look familiar. So tell us a little bit about this year's qualifiers.
Yeah, so this year, we've never retested a qualifier. And I've always kind of wanted to, but we haven't just because I feel like going into 2021, we had already wrote up a really good set of qualifiers, so we didn't do it. And then going into 2022, Mayhem kind of co-wrote the qualifiers, so we want to respect their influence, and we're like, all 6 new workouts. And so this year we're like, we have 24 workouts to choose from. That's pretty cool. So let's just do all repeats, but we want to change the order on a couple. So instead of like a 21, 15, 9, we're going to go 9, 15, 20. Let's make them a couple a little bit heavier, let's change a gymnastics movement into, another gymnastics movement that is maybe a similar time domain, if you will. So like the gymnastics was 23.4 this year, was 21.2, and there was rope climbs. And it went 4 rope climbs, 3 rope climbs, 2 rope climbs, 1, and it was per round. It was 4 rounds, right? So this year we're like, let's put in ring muscle ups just because we want to get back to those in the qualifier. And Bob's idea. He said, let's make it 12, 9, 6, 3. And I was like, perfect,
30.
It's
right.
It's you still get 30, which is a significant amount of ring muscle ups.
That's stout. Yep.
But it doesn't look too difficult because it kind of descends pretty quickly. So I feel like that's what we're good at. We like to write workouts that are like, oh, it's not too bad. And then you're like, man, it's tough. So
we're not fooled, man. We know we're not fooled. We know where the traps are.
They're going to hurt. Absolutely. Now, are you pointing the finger at Bob to try these out, or is he pointing the finger at you to try them out?
Oh man, we're both kind of. I did a workout today. I did one of them. I did the box jump and shoulder overhead workout. But we're both in a state of Bob's kind of retired from competing, so he's still working out, but not competitively. And I'm coming off a pretty significant shoulder injury, which so torn labrum, torn stuff. Didn't want to do surgery, so I took about 18 months to do nothing for a while. I mean, nothing being all rehab. So I can do all these movements, but I'm still not emotionally mature enough to compete.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not ready to get out there. But so I'm gonna do all the workouts. They're gonna be pretty slow. But the burpee box jump, shoulder overhead workout, I did not beat my time from, I believe that was 2019. And I hit the 15s, and I was like, okay, this is terrible. This is
going to hurt.
terrible. Yeah. The first year was 21:59. So you kind of had that positive feeling of, oh, I'm going down in reps. And yeah, it's not this year. So I'm curious to see how people do.
Well, I think that'll be fun. One of the things that you guys have done well, I think, in our experience is because you've specialized in masters, you tend to have different age groups, divisions using appropriate weights. And I will say that some of the qualifiers that I've done, actually, I've done all the qualifiers since 2020. They're hard. They're not. We're not playing patty cake as masters athletes here. I feel like you guys in various age groups are really good at finding the sweet spot of what's appropriately challenging in each division, where we felt, maybe CrossFit has traditionally missed it from time to time, where like the 45-year-olds are doing one weight in a snatch and the 50 plus are doing a different weight, which completely changes the workout because it's such a different weight. It's not has been tested, or they don't know what the capacities of masters are as well. How do you guys approach that? Whether it's testing or it's intuition or just your experience or the fact that you are masters yourselves. But how do you guys hit the mark better, more accurately?
Honestly, so we feel very confident in the beginning. We felt very confident in programming 35 to like 55 because Bob was in the 40s and 45s and he had buddies that were like a age group older. But past that, honestly, we reached out to the masters community, some games athletes that have been in the 55s, 60s, and 65s. We got their feedback. We've sent them workouts being like, hey, don't tell anyone. And got their feedback, and they provided a ton of really good insight. And we took that. We're like, cool, because even when we started programming, I was like, dude, I don't know how to program for a 65 plus female. I was like, I only coach, I coach all masters, but they're all under 50. And I'm like, so through all that, through their feedback, and then really paying attention to the games, then the open, really looking at, okay, how far are these people getting? What are they using, as far as a scaling movement or scaling number or weight? And, we did a lot of experimentation, basically. And we pay attention every year to how far people are getting. Our goal, for instance, for every workout, we don't expect everybody to finish it. Sometimes we only expect 20% of people to finish it. And that's just the way we programmed it. For instance, 23.4 has, for the first two age groups, front rack lunges with 70s for the males. Like that's hard. That's not easy. A lot of people are going to struggle really hard for that. But, we got to push the envelope and really figure out, is it too much? Now that workout was programmed exactly the same on the dumbbell weight back in 2021. So people shouldn't be too surprised. But again, reaching out to the community for help, especially Del.
Oh, sure.
Fountain.
Yes. Yeah. You guys have
always been a huge
before.
Help.
Yep.
Yeah, always been a huge help. Tom Mulbauer, always been a huge help. Just with like, is this too easy? Is this too hard? What can we do? Because we don't want to just go with what we think and tough luck. We want to push people. And so
see that's dialing into the community, and I think that's what helps separate your event from qualifiers to the actual live competition from maybe some of the others. And I think that's important. And speaking of that, you said larger field. You're back to a larger field because you have the capacity at the new venue this year. And so outside of the live competition spots, which were Monster Games in Mexico, is that right?
Monster Games in Missouri, Mexico.
And then you backfilled with some games athletes if they accepted, and then the balance of these fields will be made up from the live qualifier.
Yes. Yeah, so
Excellent.
The games, we made a change in the games. In years past, we've invited, it's fluctuated and it's been difficult because of the games switching their number of people they invite. So like it started when the games invited all 20. So we're like, cool, we invite all games athletes, all 20. And then in one year we tried top 5. Another year we went back to all 20, but then they went to 10. So we invited like the top 10 semifinalists. It just became very difficult for us. And it was, I can tell as an event director, it was a little complicated. So I'm like, to the spectators and athletes, this must be highly complicated. So let's just make it easy. Let's do a certain amount of games athletes, they're only for the games, but as our age groups at our championship, as those groups get smaller, so at the 50s, it goes to 30. So for the games athletes, we only did top 8, so that scaled down to match our final roster. And that's mainly because like if you get to the 65s, we only have 10, that gets eaten up a lot by games athletes. And we want to still give people that didn't quite make the games a chance to participate at Legends. And so
Excellent.
it's a lot more clear this year. I've received exponentially less question and opinions.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Matt, mate, you're saying masters athletes have opinions about things? I've
Yeah,
never heard
yeah.
that before. I'm
Yeah,
shocked.
I
Shocked
mean,
to
it's
hear.
why Bob and I started this, is because we're like, you know what, we got a few things to say about how the Masters are being treated. So
Well,
we just
and I think the positive feedback is good because
yeah.
look, it's laid out there. We know what time of the year the event happens, and
Mm-hmm.
people are starting to set their schedules around this. So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I'd say that's good too.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Well, Joe and Rick, I want to be sensitive to your guys' time. So, Joe, is there anything, as people are going to start tackling these qualifiers, is there anything really important that they need to pay attention to not mess up the qualification process? I know there's video review, video submission, but what are some things that will just make people's lives easier if they follow this as they go into this qualifier?
So what I always did with Bob as a coach, I did a dry run for him. Basically, I set up his camera. I did some squats. I would put tape on the floor. I'm like, you're squatting here. Your burpee box jumps are here. Like, just so that the video review process isn't difficult for whoever's reviewing your video. Because if you make it more difficult for them, the chances is that you're going to get some no reps that possibly aren't no reps. And it's like having, doing that yourself, setting up that video, looking at it, be like, all right, cool. Everything is clear. I can see everything. However you start your video, don't change that orientation as far as landscape or portrait, because then, it makes it difficult for us. So mainly it's the video review process that a lot of people get frustrated with. Typically it's not the workouts, it's them, doing it wrong. They lunge out of the video. We're like, where'd you go? And, again, with Bob as a coach, I would put up caution tape. I'd like, stay in the caution tape. Do not leave it. He's like, okay. I just make it super simple. You guys are, these athletes, they're competing, they're working out hard. I want to take their brain out of it and have a counter if you can for the workouts that you're allowed to pit crew. For instance, the max snatch, the first workout, have a pit crew, and then have them practice. And yeah, so that's the main thing. It's like setting yourself up for success for those videos to be super easy. Other than that, get with a coach, get with someone that is experienced if you're not experienced, and figure out which order you want to tackle these and which ones you can retest and can't retest or don't want to. That's important as well. And getting a good plan. We got plenty of time, almost 4 weeks. So you have plenty of time to work your way through these workouts and really dial it in.
Yeah, and I think the community does speak to each other enough that people start going back and forth with what has worked and what hasn't, and hey, this is this is a trap, we'll do that. And then there'll be a round of invites sent out. Obviously, you will backfill from anyone that declines an invitation, same as last year, right? To put your intended fields together based on age categories.
Correct. Yes, we will.
Gotcha. Yep. Same. Yeah. That's excellent. I'll tell you what, everybody is very much getting excited, and appreciate you spending a little bit of time today talking to us. This is can't be any more timely. I know I've got a lot of work ahead of me, and I think I've got about 30 minutes less till my scores are due. So
yeah. Well, real quick. Why do you guys keep coming back? What do you guys like about Legends so much?
It draws enough of a field for me of higher end masters athletes that I either know or have wanted to compete against, that it allows me to test myself against those. And again, I said I'm looking at teams this year because I think masters and teams are a very underrepresented part of a masters competition. You just don't see that as much. Obviously, Wadapalooza kind of picked up on that this year. You're doing it this year. Masters Collective has done it now. This will be their second year. I think it's important at the higher end, outside of a regional event or a local event, to try teams too. So it's always have been well-run events, chance to really test yourself against some high-level competition, and it's a really good time of the year. I think,
Cool.
Jason, you just like come and kicking everybody's ass. I think that's
winning's fun.
Oh, I think you're on mute.
If I unmute the mic there. I do love winning. I'd like to go 4 for 4. And I just love being out there on the battlefield of competition, and not just anywhere, right? You can only do a certain amount of competitions every year where you really give your best effort in that situation. And I mean, Legends was just something I thought I'd give it a shot in 2020, and I went, and it was an exceptional competition. I mean, it's the CrossFit Games for us in the middle of the season. I mean, it's really amazing. So that's what I went for in 2020. I came back in 2021, loved it, and have enjoyed it every time. And I'm just a firm believer in putting in as many reps as I can in a competitive environment and at the highest level. And Legends provides that. So I wouldn't miss it. I mean, I had no choice. When the invitation came and hit my inbox as a previous champion, I was like, all right, well, I mean, I shouldn't even, it's not like I'm not going to sign up for this. It sat in my inbox for like 2 weeks. And I wasn't thinking about it. It just was, I just need to do it before yesterday. I think that was the deadline. So,
yeah.
Got a message too.
Yeah.
Somebody, they said, I've got 1 day left to decide. And I'm like, you need to do it.
It's an absolute no-brainer. But I mean, honestly, it's such a good experience. It's such a well-run program or competition. And honestly, my experience in the past 3 years has been, it's more challenging than the games. Like, I need a break after Legends, and I don't always need a break after the games. So I plan for nothing less this year. I plan to take the week off afterwards, which is probably Christmas anyway. So win-win.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Been a couple of years that I've been tremendously sore.
Tremendously sore. I mean,
yes. Tremendous. It's the anxiety. It's the adrenaline. It's everything. Plus the workouts with that intensity. I've hobbled home. So, well, thank you very much.
Of course.
Thanks,
we
man.
really appreciate the time, and I know the community's excited, and we've got our time. We'll get to work.
Sounds great, guys. Thank you.
Man. Thank you. And that's it. Thanks for listening to the interview. Our joint pick of the week is for you to sign up for the Legends Championship Qualifier, which was released today. And the workouts are due, I believe, September 10th. We'll have a link in the notes below to the registration page where you can sign up, participate in the qualifier. Whether you're actually going to do the Legends Championship or not, the qualifier will be very, very fun to see how you stack up against Masters athletes around the globe. And with all that said, thanks again for tuning in to the Masters in Motion podcast. If you found this episode to be helpful, we'd be grateful if you take a moment to leave us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcast or your preferred podcast app. Your support helps us reach more listeners and grow our Masters community. Until next time, get bolder, not older. See ya.